I was bottling it up. And that's where the spiritual bypass comes in and is dangerous. I had learned this positive psychology of think good thoughts, manifest things, don't stay in the darkness because then I won't be able to manifest the good stuff and I'll just manifest more bad stuff. I think that that's really unhealthy. I wish more people talked about it and understood it from someone who's really suffered with their mental health. No matter how much love you receive, it's never going to be enough if you're not finding it within.
Rachel Platten is here. She's an international singing star, Emmy winner, and songwriting sensation, Rachel Platten.
I was at the lowest I've ever been in my life. I was terrified. I didn't know how to keep going. I screamed on the floor of my studio, mercy, mercy, I'm done. Little by little, I looked at the dark, I turned them into songs, I transmuted my pain into art. I felt a presence that I never felt in my life. And I've always written with something, but I didn't know what it was that was flowing through me. And that night, I knew without a doubt that that beautiful piece of art came through that pain. There had to be something bigger than me in this world. You just need one little light to light up the dark, right?
What would you say to your younger self on how to heal with the wisdom you have now?
I just wrote myself a letter.
It's been so amazing.
Last year was just a transformative, life-changing event.
Team greatness is great.
My name is Lewis Howes. Thanks so much for being here. And before we dive into this special video today, I want to remind you about the Summit of Greatness, our annual conference happening this September in Los Angeles with David Goggins, Dr. Joe Dispenza, and many more incredible speakers and performers. There will be so many live attendees there that you can meet with, you can network with, and you can help transform your life. Make sure to click the link in the description to get your tickets, and I can't wait to see you at the Summit of Greatness here in Los Angeles. Welcome back, everyone, to the School of Greatness. Very excited about our guest. We have the inspiring Rachel Platten in the house. Welcome, my neighbor, my friend, to the foundation of greatness.
Wow.
This is the basement. This is the home HQ of where we're doing the School of Greatness. And it's so good to see you here. So thanks for being here. We are neighbors for people that don't know, which is, for me, one of my favorite things when I moved into this home, knowing that I didn't know you lived in the neighborhood,
Right.
But now I saw you walking around one day and I was like, do you live here? And you're like, yeah, I live right here. I was like, no way.
Across the street.
It's incredible. So I'm so grateful. Every time I leave my home, I know that you're there. I feel peace and harmony. So
I feel the same way.
it feels good.
Me too.
Feels good. Welcome here. You've been on the show twice now. So your third time, I think, right?
Yeah, but do I beat anyone? Am I like the most time?
We've had some more people on, I think a few more times, but three's a lot.
I mean, it's pretty good.
If you come back a second time, that's a big deal. If you come back a third time, maybe only like 10 people have been on 3 times. So it's a big deal. You're here.
I forced my way on.
Yeah, right now. No, I'm here to support. There's a lot that's happened since I met you probably when? 2018, 2019?
It was earlier than that.
Was it?
I think it was like closer to 2016.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it was right when Fight Song was before my second record. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right?
And yeah, we connected back then. So it's probably been like 8 years, right?
Yeah.
So, and I've watched you through the journey
Yeah.
of the last 8 years. You know, we go on walks sometimes. I hear about the stuff you've been on in the last even 2 years, the last 6 months even.
Yeah.
And there's a lot that's happened in your life. A lot that's happened in your career, your health, family, all these different things. And I want to talk about how you've been able to manage it all, from essentially driving in a van, you know, for almost a decade around the country, performing your songs to small audiences, you know, 5, 10, 30 people at a time sometimes.
Living rooms. Yeah.
And living out of a van essentially some nights, to then having the #1 song in the world with Fight Song in 2016, around then, to then, you know, starting a family and kind of taking some time off from music, not fully, but not driving the music career at the highest level.
Yeah.
And not being, let's say, at #1 peak position, relevance as you were with Fight Song for a few years. And now trying to come back through a whole healing journey. And even last year alone, you know, you were struggling. We'd go on some long walks together and you were like emotionally struggling.
It really was.
You were trying to figure out kind of meaning, purpose, you know, what am I doing? Should I launch more music? All these different things.
Am I okay? Yeah.
Postpartum stuff with kids. So my first question is, how are you doing?
Man, hearing it all reflected from someone that knows you and sees you is really wild because I'm just living, in my own mind, in my own body and experiencing it through my own eyes. But hearing it all, it's wild. If you were telling me that story and I was listening to a podcast and that was the setup for like someone you were about to interview, I'd be like, yeah, how the heck is she doing? I'm doing well. I really am doing well. And I'm really happy right now. I'm tired and I'm a little overwhelmed,
Yeah.
but I'm really happy.
What are you overwhelmed with?
I'm really proud of where I'm at. I feel really strong and I feel really energized and I feel really on purpose again. And I feel really supported and loved and I feel okay. I feel like, and it's a miracle. I did not know on those walks that we took, on those long nights of insomnia and that we can get into all that. I did not know that I would ever be able to be back here. So I'm really proud.
What does back here mean? Back here, like
about to release a record, of doing this again. Like, it's wild. I'm putting out a body of work in 3 weeks, or I don't know when this will come out, but September 3rd. And it is my favorite thing I've ever created. I really feel like it's the first proper introduction of me to the world. And I am incredibly proud to be here again, to be like healthy enough to put myself out there and be vulnerable and balance it enough with my kids who are very little. And, I love who I've become. I'm really proud. This joy that I feel is earned. It's not an untested joy. It's an earned confidence. And I have found these tools that are amazing. And I've learned how to support myself and give myself what I was always looking outside for. So I feel ready.
Wow. Speaking of tools, I've heard you talk in a recent interview about how being in LA, a lot of people spiritually bypass their feelings and they just lean right into positivity, only think good thoughts.
Yeah, I did that for years. Yeah.
What were the tools that supported you from feeling your feelings without getting caught and depressed in them?
Yeah.
And also not just spiritually bypassing, but being able to get to a healthy place in your mind and in your body at the same time?
Yeah, it's such a good question. I mean, it was probably the most important thing I've learned because as an artist, as a songwriter, my emotional range is humongous. As a mother, a new mother, already that range is expanded. So I'm a songwriting new mom. I mean, it's a mess in there. And I had to learn how to allow it all and how to work with it and love myself through all of it. And it's as I teach my daughters that it's okay to feel your feelings, I learn it for myself. So I think a lot of it has been mothering. It's so interesting. I'm sure any parent knows as you go through the different ages of your child, you revisit those ages in yourself. So I've had to do a lot of healing around 3-year-old Rachel and then 4-year-old Rachel and 5-year-old. And my daughter just went to kindergarten 3 days ago. And I couldn't believe how much I remembered from kindergarten that never was there. So there were a lot of ways I did it. One of the most profound was a journaling practice that a woman whose work is called, her name is Nicole Sachs, and she has an amazing, amazing community and a podcast that is called The Cure for Chronic Pain. And I don't know if I told you, but I also, in addition to dealing with the anxiety journey and the postpartum journey, I think you knew this, I dealt with chronic pain for 2 years. So
your
in healing,
your back,
my hip, right. But what I learned was it was all the same thing. My back pain was my anxiety.
Really?
Was my headaches, was my, all the same thing. It was just my nervous system.
What were you anxious about?
I mean, what wasn't I anxious about? I was a mess. Like my hormones, first of all, were completely out of whack after giving birth twice. I'm really rocked by hormones anyway. I'm 43, so I'm probably somewhat perimenopausal. I'm not sure exactly where, but I was anxious about the pandemic. I was anxious about having a new baby. I was anxious about how would my older child fit in with the younger child. I was anxious about will my career, like we talked about, will I ever be relevant again? Is it done? Did my moment happen? Is it over? I was anxious about money. If I'm the breadwinner, what am I going to do? I was terrified. There was so much. I was anxious. My mom had cancer. It was just so much. And my husband passed a kidney stone and my uncle died and just life. Mine's no worse than what everyone else is experiencing, but just life. And it all piled up and I was bottling it up. And that's where the spiritual bypass comes in and is dangerous. For me, it was dangerous because I had learned this kind of positive psychology of like, well, think good thoughts, manifest things, don't stay in the darkness because then I won't be able to manifest the good stuff and I'll just manifest more bad stuff. And I think that that's really unhealthy. I wish more people talked about it and understood it from someone who's really suffered with their mental health. When you have feelings that you're repressing for enough time, there's only so much that this well can hold until it starts spilling over. And once it starts spilling over, your nervous system signals, oh my gosh, we're in fight or flight right now. We're not okay. And your whole body starts reacting in different ways, whether it's your hip or your migraines or my voice or anxiety or panic attacks or dissociation. They were all the same thing. So I needed to learn how to dip a ladle in and scoop out the reservoir. And how I did that was through therapy, medication, journaling, actually getting in touch, EMDR, actually getting in touch with the suppressed rage, fear, grief that we all have as humans. But we learn really early on, like think of a toddler having a tantrum. We learn really early on that those emotions aren't acceptable and we repress them. And that's not a bad thing. Like we have to get along in the world, But when that emotional well gets too full, it is a bad thing because our body chooses pain. It thinks it's safe. It's like safe in the unsafest way. It chooses pain over experiencing the true terror, rage, or pain you're feeling. So I had to go in and just look at all that and like hold myself and say, Rach, we're going to look and you're going to be okay. And we're going to look safely and we're going to look resourced. And little by little, I looked at the dark. I turned them into songs. I transmuted my pain into art. I saw it and I shone a light. It's like shining a light in the dark. Like all of a sudden you just need one little light to light up the dark, right? I just put on one little light in the dark and I started looking around and I realized this isn't so dangerous. It's scary and it's hard, but I'm not going to die. Yeah.
What were you most scared of facing?
During postpartum depression and anxiety, I think the scariest thing that I needed help from EMDR with was the insomnia I felt. The insomnia I was experiencing, I'm sorry.
You couldn't sleep.
I couldn't sleep. And there was a time when, you might have been my neighbor at this point, there was a time for 3 nights that I was up. Just not a wink of sleep. Not a second. And the terror
was causing that? It
was my hormones.
Anxiety or hormones?
Yeah, no, it was my hormones.
Stress.
It was like the drop in progesterone and stress, and like it was a month after giving birth. So the hormones are rocked and like in your body, and your body's trying to rebalance itself. And mine has a particularly hard time. And I wish I had like listened to my friend Gabby Bernstein, who has been on your podcast and is a dear friend. And I honestly think she helped to save my life because she told me, Rachel, enough Reiki, meditation, praying it away. Like, go get some effing medication. Go get on a benzo to help you sleep. Knock yourself out. Get on an SSRI and get some real support. And I was terrified of medication. Terrified. And I've heard this story so many times now online from other women like me. Like, we think, oh, we have to be perfect, or, we have all these like incredible tools. We can go to a intuitive and they'll help us, like whatever.
Meditation,
That's
Reiki,
where I think LA can be a little dangerous in that stuff. I can Reiki it away. I can pray it away. I mean, I got certified in Reiki and nothing against it, but that doesn't help when you're like hormones are going crazy and you aren't sleeping and you're having panic attacks. So
it can also be dangerous in the extreme of like, okay, now I'm just going to do microdosing all day long. I'm going to do ayahuasca every weekend. And it's like too extreme.
Exactly.
One
Balance
way or another.
of everything. If you're okay, basically, and you're like using those as tools to open up and heal, that's beautiful. But if you're really like having suicidal ideation, or which I wasn't, but if you're in a really dark spot, it's really dangerous to rely on, something that, I don't know, isn't actually medically supervised and proved.
But she encouraged you.
She said to me, she's like, Rachel, please go here's my psychiatrist, call her, get some medication, call your OBGYN.
And get back on track.
Get on track. And what I did with my therapist was realize it took a long time to like allow myself to fail, and I'm putting quotations around it for people listening. Like, I saw that as a failure. I'm not good enough.
Like taking medication.
I wasn't strong enough. I'm the fight song girl. I should be able to will myself out of this depression like I did last time. but I did. I finally relented, and it really helped that my dad is was trained as an industrial organizational psychologist, but a clinical psychiatrist before that.
Wow.
My mom's a therapist. My sister has been on an SSRI. I had a ton of friends around me. Rachel, you're going to be okay. Like, you're not failing. This isn't bad. You're not. I was terrified of breastfeeding with it and going into my baby. Like, I was so afraid of all of it. But ultimately, I made the choice, and it saved my life.
Really?
It saved
It
me.
allowed you to sleep, allowed you to
Allowed
calm
me
things.
to sleep instantly.
Wow.
After months of not sleeping, I slept like a baby that first night. But I woke up to my husband having a kidney stone, and I was like, I slept. And my nanny came in. She's like, okay, Kevin's in the hospital.
Really?
Yeah, it was effed.
What happened with him?
I'm really proud of myself for not swearing. I just want to say, like, I just really want some props for that.
That's good.
I don't know. He just had a kidney stone. I don't know how we get that. I was stressed. I don't know. His wife was falling apart. He was probably like, it wasn't great. Things weren't great.
Wow.
So I slept. I was okay. My therapist put it like this. This medication is going to be the scaffolding so that we can start actually building the building. Without the scaffolding in place, it doesn't matter how much work we're doing. Nothing is going to be, start to get built.
Yes.
So you need the structure so that we can so the work we're doing is actually effective. And she was right, because I have worked incredibly hard. 5 years of amazing therapy. I have the most incredible therapist, and I've worked so hard with her. But without the support of those medications, I don't think it would have been a drop in the bucket.
What do you think was causing?
Is that the expression?
Yeah, I think so. Drop in the bucket. Yeah.
Okay, great. It's good stuff.
What do you think was, I guess, causing you the most overwhelm in terms of emotions or thoughts? Is it an anxiety feeling? Is it more of a depression feeling? Is it worry? Is it shame? What is the emotion or feeling that is causing the most stress?
Yeah. Well, I looked at it. I looked all the way in, and I asked, what is here underneath it all? And I found out that the primal fear for me, and we all have different primal fears, but mine is that I was alone, that ultimately I was alone. I wasn't loved by God. I was all alone in this world. And that was my primal fear.
During this whole time of kind of stress and anxiety and depression?
During the whole time, I think what was underneath all of it was that I'm alone in this world. And I have since learned how untrue that is, how deeply loved I am, how connected to God I am. And but at the time, that was what I was always most afraid of.
Why do you think that was in your subconscious or in your body consistently? When you have a family, your parents are here, I
wrote songs and songs about
fans,
this. Yes, like millions of people. I could look online and how funny and ironic, how empty that is. But listen, it is the most amazing thing to learn, because it isn't going to fill you. No matter how many people are around you, you know this too. No matter how much love you receive, it's never going to be enough if you're not finding it within.
That's true.
And so I never was really learning to find it within. I was kind of like hungry, like a hungry ghost, Tara Brach says. I love her work. You're just like grabbing for more and more and more and scrolling for more and more. And like, I had 2 beautiful daughters who were healthy, and I had a husband that loved me, and family that was around me loving me, and none of it was going to be enough ever.
Really?
If I hadn't filled the well. No, because Lewis, like, I wasn't giving it to myself. Do you know what I mean?
Why weren't you?
Why don't any of us? I don't know. I hadn't learned how.
But
I don't know.
How did you learn? When did you learn how to give it to yourself? And what are the things that make you feel that you've loved yourself and that you're not alone?
Well, I can give you an example this morning even. I am overwhelmed right now. My record's coming out in 2.5 weeks. My daughter just started kindergarten. My 3-year-old has decided she doesn't want to sleep anymore. I mean, like, it's crazy.
So you're not sleeping.
No,
you've got bills to pay. You've got all these things.
Yeah, like my husband's the president of our label. We're in it together. We have all our ducks on the, everything's, what's the expression? All of the fires are on. Like I have not nailed any of the expressions. But whatever, we're in it. This is it. This body of work that I love more than anything is about to come out. And this morning, I woke up, took Violet to kindergarten. She cried and clung to me. She didn't want to go. It's new. She's having big feelings. My 3-year-old cried and didn't want me to leave the house. I'm leaving for a rehearsal. Then I had a show, and then I had a voice lesson. Now I have this. Like, it's all stacked up, right? So I'm overwhelmed. And I had a moment in the car this morning after the gym, and I just felt I don't have anything left.
Wow.
I am depleted. I'm so exhausted. What am I going to do? How am I going to balance this all? How am I going to do okay today at these shows and these things, interviews? And I sat there and I remembered, I put a hand on my heart. I have so many tools now. And I said, Rachie, what do you need? Like a mom to her daughter. What do you need, my love? What do you need right now? And I listened and I heard I need to cry. And I held myself and I let myself cry. And I mothered myself.
Wow.
I mothered myself. I loved myself. And I just lovingly said to myself, Rach, you don't have to be perfect. Just show up. God's going to do the rest today.
Wow.
You just show up today, baby. One interview at a time. One thing at a time. One breath at a time. It's going to be okay. I love you. You're allowed to fail. You're allowed to not be perfect. Who cares? And I was able to get on with the day with joy and with hope and feeling supported. And I just took it all a little bit less seriously. So those are the tools I'm using, is like checking in with myself and reparenting myself.
Because it can feel like a lot is on the line. It can feel like, oh, I've spent years building this record and it's coming out. It has to do well. Otherwise, it's a failure. I'm a failure. All this money invested, or whatever the opinions or thoughts are, right? Or it's, oh, what if I never get back to where I was in the past?
Oh my God, I've worked through that one already.
Really?
Oh my God, I don't care. Who cares? I don't need to be where I was. Who's ever going to recreate like the number one song in the world?
Magic in a bottle.
That's like, come on.
Yeah.
I'm not going to recreate it. So let me just enjoy what I'm doing now. I'm so proud of this work. Wherever it goes is not up to me. And I wrote a statement for my press release that I was so proud of, and I like burst into tears and I was like, yes, I'm always crying basically. And I was like, and I said, this album is already a triumph.
Yes.
Because it saved my life.
Wow.
And anything else that comes from it is gravy.
That's a good thing. That's a good perspective, because I remember my first book came out in 2015 and I was so stressed about launching my first big project, right?
Yeah.
And I really wanted to be a New York Times bestseller.
I know.
And I hit it and I was like, okay, like it felt good, right?
Yeah.
It didn't like the heavens didn't open up and like all my problems were solved. It wasn't like millions of dollars just flooded to me. It really didn't do anything, but it was a little
something
thing.
You needed. Yeah.
It's like you hit number one song on the Billboard. It's like, okay, that's a cool feeling.
Right.
It's a validation, right? And so then I launched another book 2 years later, and I remember being like, okay, I really need to hit the New York Times again, and it didn't hit. And I got really angry for like a couple of weeks. I couldn't enjoy the process. And at the same time, this book was probably my most meaningful piece of work ever, because it was about how men can heal and how men can take the masks off. And that, even though it hasn't sold the most or whatever been the biggest hit, so many men email me and tell me how it's healed them.
Yeah.
Right? And how it's like, even if one person it impacted and it helped them, it was worth it.
Yes.
Right? And so on my last book, I remember feeling the same way that you did recently, which is like, I completed the book. It's already a success.
Yes.
Even if it doesn't sell whatever, it helped me process. It helped me get clearer on my life. It helped me grieve, whatever it is. It's therapeutic.
Yeah.
And if it can help one person or thousands or millions, then great. It's a blessing.
That is exactly.
And trying to let go of the end result of it needing to hit a certain thing.
I mean, it isn't up to me. It isn't up to you.
It's challenging though. It's challenging to do.
It is, but I've been doing this now for 20 years. And so I have really, I can really say that I mean it. I can stand behind what I'm saying. I took a lot of work. And even this summer, I was thrashing and angry at God and like, I want more. And I had to work through it again.
Really, this summer?
Yeah, like just like 2 months ago. I mean, I have this whole time been so surrendered and so at peace and so excited for the most part about this project. Basically because like every day I'm excited to wake up because I'm not waking up with anxiety or pain. It's so easy to love life when you've been in such a dark place. And I don't take anything for granted, or I try not to.
Yeah.
I mean, I forget sometimes. But I had a moment, like I had a week or two this summer where I wanted something else and I wanted something more and I wanted some festivals or whatever it was that my ego at the moment wanted to feel important and I had to work through it all over again. But it was a quicker process this time. And it was like kind of like, when you're learning a lesson and you feel like you've learned it, but then there's one final like
test,
right? That was it.
You gotta surrender.
Yeah. And then after that, after crying for a week and mad at God, I fully surrendered.
I think we don't learn the lesson until we learn to create a boundary around the thing that we're really trying to create, right? It's like until you're able to create a boundary with that relationship you have with needing more.
Yes.
When you created that boundary and you said, actually, I'm fine with whatever happens. I'm going to show up fully as me and I'm going to do my best and I'm going to be.
Exactly. Doesn't mean I'm going to try any less hard.
Yeah.
I'm surrendered, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to hope for it. Now my attitude is, wouldn't it be nice if it was on the chart again? Wouldn't it be nice? How fun would that be? What a delight. But I don't need it.
Yeah.
And also, you know what helped me do that? Is my husband is running our label and he has shown me the breakdown of being an indie artist for a major versus a major label artist. I literally, for my life to support my family, don't need it to be a major thing.
As an indie artist.
As an indie artist,
because you own more rights and you have more.
I own my masters. I own most of the publishing. I am the primary writer on most of the songs. And I produced it myself with my two best friends who are Grammy winners. It's not like a bunch of friends.
Right.
You know, like they're incredible. But the financials on it. And now I'm lucky because I already have a fan base. So it's hard because I'll say this, like, you don't need to be on a label, but if you've had a hit, it makes it a bit easier. Yeah. So I have a fan base. But the thing is, I don't actually need it I don't need my beautiful body of work to be anything other than it is. It can go into the world. It already has supported us from the 4 songs I've released.
Wow.
The streaming that it's doing.
It's already brought in revenue. And wow.
And it's crazy what artists are convinced that they need from major labels because the tiny little like percentage that you earn of your masters
is nothing.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Is nothing. You need it to be a gigantic hit in order to see money. So I've learned my lesson.
I mean, for example, I think Fight Song has almost 1 billion streams on Spotify.
Yeah, just on Spotify alone. Over, I think across everything it has like 2 billion. Yeah.
Wow, it's amazing. Yeah. YouTube and Apple and everywhere else it is.
3 billion with everything. Sorry.
3 billion.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
But if a label owns that.
I've never really bragged about that.
Right? 3 billion streams across everything. That's amazing. But if a label owns that, you get a much smaller piece than if you owned that. It would be like 10, 20, 50 times more.
Yeah, exactly.
Really?
If I owned the master for Fight Song, kid, we wouldn't be in the same neighborhood.
I'd be like,
this is a lovely place, but yeah. No, but I am going to get to re-record it because I will. The master reverts to me, and I'm going to re-record it like Taylor did her versions. I'm going to do my versions.
But how does that work? Does that actually work? Like, does it when she re-recorded?
I mean, she's Taylor, so like she is. The whole entire world listening. I don't know if people will choose my Rachel's version to stream, but it will be the 10th anniversary. And so I think that there will be
some
movement attention around like Wildfire will turn 10. That's the record that had Stand By You and Better Place and Fight Song on. So I'm going to do like 4 or 5 of them.
That's cool.
Reimagined in the sound and the sonics of this new record, which is quite a departure from the early stuff.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know anything about this world, but because she re-recorded it like a year or 2 ago, right? Is that something?
She's been in the process of it, I think, over the last 4 years.
How is that done?
She goes into the studio and she just
she's launched it already, right? Or no? Like she launched some songs?
Yeah. Do you mean how does it done like sonically or how is it done?
No, she's remastered them, right?
She's not remastered them. She's actually recreated them. Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But she's launched some of them.
She's launched, yeah.
And she's making money off them?
Yes.
Really?
It's amazing.
So people aren't listening to the original, they're listening to the new version?
I don't think it matters with her audience because it's so massive that people are people are listening to everything she puts out, right?
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it was the smartest thing.
Yeah, really smart.
Yeah.
Your album is amazing. I went to I think it was your first, I was in your back house, like as you're finishing songs and
3 years ago?
Sharing stuff 2 years, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. You're like, I just finished the song and you played Mercy for me. Yeah, it was incredible. Yeah. And you're like, we're still editing it, or whatever. But it was like amazing to hear it live as you're finishing it. And then watching you at the Troubadour, I think it was like 6 months ago, kind of like share it for the first time, these songs to the public. You have one song called Bad Thoughts. And I know you're big on visualization and manifesting, right? You think about manifesting?
Not like I was.
You used to be.
I used to be.
But not anymore.
Well, I feel a little bit more like, I don't know. Have you read Michael Singer's books?
Yeah,
the Surrender Experiment.
I haven't read that one, but
The Untethered Soul.
Yeah, The Untethered Soul.
Yeah, I mean, I have a tricky thing with manifesting. I did the other day. My friend is very into it. 8-8, like Lionsgate. She's like, we got to manifest. We got to manifest. But I feel a little bit like I'm not so in control as I thought I was. And it's kind of a good feeling. I kind of feel a little bit more peace and a little bit more faith and a little bit more, just feel deeply connected to God and like we're co-creating together. And it's not so much up to me to think the right way or visualize the right thing or like think so perfectly, because the danger with that is if you went through a mental health battle, you know that you are not in control of your thoughts. And if you believe that you are for the good, then that means you have to believe that you are when you're thinking something that is very scary and terrifying. And I had to give up that belief and let myself off the hook. And
if you have bad thoughts consistently, do you feel like you can create a meaningful life and have your dreams come true?
I think what our job is to be honest with what we're thinking. I don't think we should let it ever run away with it. Like, I don't think we should give it free reign. We have to make sure that the self is in there. Have you done any IFS work? Yeah. Yeah, I love that stuff. So like capital S self.
I had Frank on, who's like the big,
I got to listen to that episode.
Yeah, it's amazing.
You have to make sure that the self is in there, because the person usually that's the version of you, the self that's in there, that is feeling all that fear and anxiety and devastation and rage is only just a part of you. It's not the real you, the centered you that's one with God and one with everything. So look, I mean, you're not going to give it the wheel of the bus, but I also think that denying it and shutting it out and being scared of it is the wrong thing. At least it was for me. Then it just was denying what actually is. So in my deep struggle, when every day was negative, scary thoughts, every day was panic, every day was dissociation, there was nothing I could do. There was no amount of like manifesting I could do to force those thoughts away. I had at some point to just say, this is what's here. I love you, Rachel. I love you and I accept you. I'm here anyway. I love you anyway. And so I really believe now that I don't want to look at anyone and be like, get rid of those thoughts. I just want to hold them and hug them and teach them through my songs, through my own life, how to love themselves and say, I love all of me. I love the scary thoughts that are here. I love the bad thoughts. I love the fear. I love the anxiety, because I'm human. And it all is what's here. It just is already here. What are we going to do? Push it away? To actually change something has to start with radical acceptance of what is. And so real change only happens once you say yes to what actually is here. Right. And that's why I think the manifesting can be a little tricky, at least the way I was doing it and learning it and how I see people doing it online and like talking about it. I'm more like, hey, yes, but first meet what's here. First, let it all come up and love it. Yeah. And then once it's not a terrified little screaming child inside of you demanding your attention, trying to grab the wheel, once you bring capital S self back, like the God self back onto the bus and say, hi, my love, I'm here. I see you're afraid and you can be on this bus with me, but you can't drive because you're 5. Right, exactly. Or 10 or 15 or whatever age they were trapped at. That's what I think. If your anxiety or bad thoughts are running your life, it's going to be hard to create something fulfilling. And if you create something, it's going to be hard to live. And if you create something from a place of lack or anxiety, it's not going to feel enough. What you're creating, it's not going to feel like you're safe still. You're going to need more. Yeah. As opposed to accepting where you're at. Yeah. I guess that's what my question was around that. But so how do we navigate then? Because we grew up in the 80s, early 80s. And for me, it was, don't talk about feelings at all. It was like, don't cry, don't talk about feelings, just like do your job, Essentially, don't act like a child. Right. It's kind of what it is. Right. Like shut up your emotions. It's not acceptable. Yeah, exactly. Shut it down. Where, being in LA, I see more of an extreme side of like, if a child is having a breakdown, it's like, okay, let's talk for 90 minutes about your feelings every single day. Let's address your feelings. Let's get on our knees and look at our children like all day long and just share your feelings, share your feelings. Parents really have it hard right now. Like we are being told all day long, right? No, it is so confusing. We're being told like gentle parenting has been totally misunderstood. Yeah. Boundaries are essential. We're, anyway, keep going. But I have my own thoughts about that. I feel like there's
again, I don't have kids yet, but I know you have this and you're around like other moms and parents and schools. And so you're seeing this. I almost feel like there's another extreme that's happened since when we grew up.
Too permissive. And too permissive to the anxiety.
Any feelings, scream all day, run around, and, do whatever. No boundaries, no structure.
No, that is not what I think.
And I feel like either side has its problems of developing young children into having some type of anxiety, stress, or problematic symptoms as teens and adults.
Yes.
Whether it be an entitlement or a lack of drive or whatever it might be, right?
Yeah. I mean,
so how can we address that in this time and age when certain adults haven't learned the tools on how to love and self-soothe and self-parent?
Yeah.
But also raising children without needing them to like you. Because there's going to be a lot of times they're not going to like you, and not just giving in to them constantly so that they have your approval. How do you learn?
My God, come back to me when you're a dad. like literally, you have no idea what you're talking about. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm messing with you.
How do you
I love you,
it?
and I love this conversation. But I got to tell you, when you can have all the ideas about what you think people should be doing and how you think people should be parenting, until you are actually met with a tantrum
I'm sure
in public and your own child, my God, I had all the judgments and how I was going to do things and what I was going to do and how, and one kid to two kids. I mean, it is a shit show. It is like,
how do you navigate it? I have no idea.
I don't know. I'm still learning. My oldest is only 5. I'm still finding out what kind of mom I am. I'm still figuring it out. My parents were permissive and then scary authoritative.
Really?
Like cheering me on, rooting me on, and then terrifying, loud noises, doors slamming, scary stuff. So I am really anti-yelling and screaming in my house.
Good.
But I've had to learn with my therapist and in couples therapy, I've had to learn what is my way of setting a firm boundary with my children, because they cannot be jerks. They cannot be entitled. I will not raise those children. And also they're being raised very different than I am, with so much money, with so much privilege, with beauty and like all the stuff that, I mean, I was pretty cute, but, but like we didn't have money. It was a very different life. It wasn't like, anything you want, you could have at any moment. Right. So my husband and I are figuring this out as we go in real time. And I have to find my way of having firm boundaries, because my way is not yelling. My husband's is yelling, and I hate it. And he doesn't yell all the time, but when you really mess with him, he will scream at the girls, and they will just look at him like, what the hell is going on? They're terrified. Wow. And I have a really big problem with that, because I do like more of the gentle parenting. But with gentle parenting, you have to have firm boundaries. You have to stick to them. You have to do what you say you're going to do. Because if any of that is lax, then you will raise an entitled child. But for me, I've really learned that and it's the same with myself. The way that I parent myself is the way I'm parenting my children.
Interesting.
It is allowed. Your feelings are valid. They are allowed. They are not allowed to hurt someone else. Mm-hmm. They are not allowed to get in the way of your life right? But they are going to be heard and witnessed, and they are all okay because you're human and they're part of being human. And we're going to love and support you and help you kind of move, raise what's below to the light, right? So that it's not trapped down there. I don't want my daughters to think that they aren't allowed to cry and have tantrums, but they can do it in their room, and they can do it in a safe place, and they cannot hurt each other, and they cannot hurt themselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like,
I'm asking you.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know either. I'm figuring it out. I don't know. It's so hard to be a mom, and I'm learning as I go.
Yeah. For moms or women who want to be moms, but also want to have their careers or have a dream that they want to pursue, their art or their music or whatever it might be, what do you say to them before they become a mom? If they want to also be the breadwinner, also be earning full-time, working full-time as an artist or a career individual, and having one child, it's got to be one of the hardest things. To be a mom full-time and then have the energy and the thought capacity to create beyond being a mom.
Well,
it's got to be one of the hardest things.
It was one of the things that I thought that they would be opposites. Before I became a mom, I thought that if I had children, it would steal my creativity, my creativity would suffer. And what I have learned is that it could not be more, it could not be less true.
Really?
it is the opposite. My creativity has expanded so much. I mean, think of the act of creating a child. It is the most creative you will ever be in your life, right? You are literally creating a human. You are so tapped in to divine, to creation.
To magic.
To magic. Once you create a human, you can create anything. Like my songs flowed so easy as if God turned on a faucet that just never got shut off.
Wow.
And creating for me is so much more easy and natural and flows. I mean, first of all, the range of what I feel from becoming a mom, as we said earlier, is so much more wide and like wild.
And just life experience in general.
Life experience. So I have so much to pull from. I mean, I can like harness and transmute all of that terror and grief and rage I told you I went down and witnessed. And I can turn them into this beautiful art that still actually sounds joyful somehow. There's joy in the pain that I'm singing about.
But how do you have the energy and the capacity to create?
Yeah.
You might have ideas and like it might flow when you have energy and time, but when you're a full-time mom and even if your kids are in school or you have daycare or nanny support every now and then, or babysitters for a few hours a day, you're still thinking about your kids all day long. Your body's still responding to healing after the first few years. You're still need energy. You're up all night because your child wets the bed or it needs to come in and they sleep with you and they're kicking you all night or whatever it is. It's beautiful, but it's also challenging.
Yeah.
Like how do you have energy during the day to be a full-time mom, a full-time creator and bring in the money to support
first of all, my husband has since started working for me and now is a partner.
Yes.
And so it's amazing. He's bringing more income in from having come in and transformed my business.
Sure.
So it's not all on me anymore. And that has been a gigantic relief.
It's big.
Yeah, it's amazing.
But for women that just want to generate money, who wants to, they want to make money also as well as being moms.
I have two things. I have two thoughts on this. One is, I want you to think about the busiest time in your life. How productive were you when you only had 30 minutes to be productive?
Very productive.
Versus when you had nothing going on and you had all day.
Very productive. But there's a time you're going to crash at some point.
Okay.
If you're doing that every day for months.
I crashed this morning. Yeah. But Taylor Swift taught me when Fight Song was exploding and we were like, and I met her and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I have to be in Paris and then Japan and then I don't know how to do this. And she said, you aren't going to have days off. You are going to have moments off. You're going to draw all your energy back in moments at a time. So that's one thing. Like I can't look right now at my calendar. My calendar's insane.
Wow.
I cannot look at it for the next 3 months. It is packed every day. It's insane. But
this is a season of life
it's
too.
You're
season.
Like, it's 3 months. Exactly.
You're all in.
I'm all in. My husband and I are all in. We have everyone around us supporting us.
You're saying yes to everything.
My team is like, yep. So that's where I'm at right now. It's just a season. I've been doing this long enough to know now this isn't forever. This is right now. I also have incredible moments off and days off and weeks off because of the career I chose. So there will be a lull and I will get to be around my babies all day long and it will be delicious. Okay, that's my one thought. And then the other thought I have is that my spiritual practice has been absolutely essential in keeping my energy up. I didn't have this tool before. I didn't have this deep connection to God before. And now that I do, I literally give it to God. I literally say, you do it. I write. I want to show you what I write.
Yes.
I want to show you.
What do you say?
I make a check mark for God. And before a show, I do it. Before something I'm scared of, before a day, before an intense performance, I literally write a list of what I'm scared of. I made this up. I don't know if this is like, people are going to listen and be like, what the hell is she talking about? But I want you to imagine 3 columns. The first column, I write down all my fears and all my worries and all my stress. The second column, I write down my job. And I write...
what do you mean?
Like, okay, I'll tell you. I'll give you an example. Let's say I was doing one about the Lewis podcast. I'm nervous. I love Lewis. This podcast is huge. I want to do a good job. I want to come off well. I want people to go listen to my music. I want to be successful, right? What is my job? My job, what God tells me my job is to breathe, be in the moment, give it to Him, and have fun. That's it. That's my job. And then I write the third column, what's God's job? And on God's column is everything.
Everything.
Make it go so well. Make me adorable, hilarious, funny, charming. You do it. And then like make it the most successful pod. Make Lewis love it. And like whatever. God has all this to do. And then I make a checkbox for him. And I crack up and I write on it, go, God, go. Yay, God. Don't worry. You can do it, God. And I cheer him on. It's like ridiculous. It's like so ridiculous.
Wow.
And then I crack up because I look at my job versus God's job and I'm like, oh, bro, you have a lot of work to do. I'm going to go chill, but good luck to you. And then I come back and I remember to check him off and I give him A+. And I'm like, very good job. And I like give him stickers and he has not failed me ever.
Wow.
And that's what I do for energy.
What do you think is the difference between putting all the weight and pressure on you to do a good job and perform versus
Oh my God.
allowing God in your life to deliver?
I don't have to do anything. I have to show up. I have to show up and I have to be the clearest vase that I can. God is the flowers. My job is literally just to be the clearest vase for people to see them. And that's hard work. It takes hard work to be a clear vase, but I can do that. I can't shine and shimmer. I can't guarantee people will love me. I can't be delightful and perfect and pleasing, right? But I can do my work to be a clear vase. I can meditate. I can do my breath work. I can have therapy. I can work out. I can keep my body healthy. I can keep my mind healthy. That's my job in being a clear vase, right? And the pressure's off other than that. My job is not what are people going to think of me. My job is not how am I going to come off? What is the success going to be? What is the result going to be? It is literally just to be the best version I can.
When did you start this practice of giving it up to God?
In the middle of the darkest depression, when I had no other choice.
A couple of years ago?
Yeah, a couple of years ago when I was completely at a loss on my knees in the studio that you came to a couple times, on my knees in the middle of the night at 2 a.m. My baby had had a 105-degree temperature that night. She was 2 months old. My husband had passing a kidney stone. I wasn't sleeping. I was absolutely at the lowest. My uncle just died. I was at the lowest I've ever been in my life. I was terrified. I didn't know how to keep going. And I screamed on the floor of my studio, mercy, mercy, I'm done, mercy. And this song came out of me. This song, Mercy, came out of me at 2 a.m, like all at once, this rush, this answer of music. I felt a presence that I'd never felt in my life.
Wow.
And I've always written with something, but I didn't know what it was that was flowing through me. And that night I knew without a doubt that that beautiful piece of art came through that pain. There had to be something bigger than me in this world that was listening. And from then, I just was so hungry for it.
Wow.
And I sought it out and I asked and I searched and I implored God, keep showing yourself to me. Please keep delighting me, keep helping me, keep healing me. And he did over and over. And music came, like so much music.
Did you have a relationship to God before then?
I think I did, but I didn't know him. And I didn't know. I didn't understand that he was actually like listening to me and right there and right here in my heart. And that it was someone that I didn't have to go through someone else to get to. That was the other thing about LA and that this world that we're kind of entrenched in that I think messed me up. I kept thinking there needed to be this intermediary to get me to God. Like,
Really?
Okay, I'd go to like a medical intuitive or an intuitive or a psychic
And they
or
would
a
connect you.
Reiki person. They connect me. And I was so desperate for it that I'd go all the time. Like, I want that. I want to understand how to reach, my creator, and you know how to do it for me. So you do it. And I'd ask people to pray for me for things. And like, because I had so much fear and that's where the aloneness felt like.
What were you
came
afraid
in.
of? Connecting
Being
with him?
alone, like being that no one would be there when I went to ask, that no one would hear me. Like, do you feel loved by God? Do you feel a connection?
Yeah, I do. I didn't always though. I mean, growing up, I felt very insecure.
Me
very,
too.
Very alone.
Yeah, me too.
I used to go to the principal's office all the time in elementary school and just say, I wish I were dead. I wish I were dead over and over again because I felt like no one cared. Obviously, my parents were there
No,
for
I
me,
remember.
obviously like, my siblings, but it's just, I just felt alone. And it didn't probably matter how much someone loved me. I didn't know how to receive the love probably also.
Exactly.
And so for years, it wasn't until maybe 10, 11 years ago when I started my healing journey where I felt a deeper sense of love for self and love for God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Of course, yeah. But
I know the
I think
feeling.
it's challenging.
I know the feeling.
And so everything for me was driving, I can relate to you because I was driven for so long to succeed, to feel loved and accepted.
Exactly.
But then it never felt like enough. It never felt
No.
like, oh, I'm not getting what I truly want. So let
No.
me go get more.
Right.
and keep accomplishing.
Exactly.
And things started to shift for me 10 years ago where I said, I want to create my life based on a vision that I have to serve people.
Yes.
And if I have a dream to write a book or something else, and I can still go for goals, but it needs to be in the service of others.
It needs to be in service is fundamental now in anything I do.
That's
I am
great.
exactly the same, Lewis. Same. We are so similar in our journeys. I needed to achieve more and more and more. And we are both very driven people and we have achieved a lot. And we have both been through the school of greatness and we have achieved great things. And all of your guests have, and probably most of your listeners do. But what we've found is that there is an emptiness in it, right? Unless it is of service, unless you are being asked to be used, unless like you are striving is for a bigger purpose. So when you're on your knees screaming mercy at 2 a.m. in the back of your house, you're like, did neighbors call?
I'm curious, like, did you feel a connection to God then?
I did.
Was it like the first time you really felt a connection? And if so, what did you hear or experience or notice? Yeah,
I'm crying thinking about it because it was so powerful. And it shifted me so much. And for me, God talks to me through songs and songwriting. So this song that came out of me, it's one of my favorite songs I've ever written. And the fact that I wrote it in 20 minutes was very obvious that it wasn't me writing it.
Wow.
So it was
just came through you quickly.
It came through me very quickly. It was almost like I was chasing it. And I was like, slow down, slow down, slow down. I'm trying. I'm slow down. I kept saying, slow down.
Like the words are coming to you.
Like the words were coming. Like I was like, stop, stop, stop. And my hands couldn't write fast enough. And I was like, please, please slow down. I kept saying out loud to anyone, slow down. And it just was coming and coming. And I was like, oh my God, here's the verse. Okay, get back to the piano. Oh my God. And it felt like an orgasm or something.
A musical orgasm.
Like it was just wild. And I had been in so much pain and so much suffering that
it created peace, it created freedom.
It felt like a taste of freedom. Now it did not last.
Right.
Like
it's 2 a.m. You're exhausted.
The song happened. It was incredible. I woke my husband up. I shook him. I was like, come downstairs. I think he had just got back from the hospital. He was exhausted. He was like, oh, no.
You're both exhausted.
Like, please don't make me wake up to hear a song of yours because if I don't like this song right now, I am
like, why'd you wake me up?
So screwed. Like, he's like, I better like this song because you are so not okay right now. And I was like, no, Kevin, it's good. And I played it for him with tears in my eyes.
Like you played it live or you recorded it already?
No. Come on. I did not.
I didn't know if you recorded on your iPhone real quick.
No, I did. But I did. I captured it. I actually have the recording of me.
The original?
Yeah.
Ah, that's
me
cool.
Crying through it. And I'm like, in one part, I go, oh, that's good. And I'm like, whoa,
no way.
And then I go, oh, that's good. Yeah, you hear me. And then I throw the pen down. You can hear it all. But I wake him up and I bring him down and I sing it for him and his jaw is on the floor and he's like, what? And I was like, yeah. I think God's using me. I think that there's a reason that I think there's a reason I'm suffering so much right now.
Wow.
But I still had to suffer for 2 more years. So it wasn't all great.
Do you think we have to suffer to create something great?
Oh my God, this sucks because I used to vehemently argue that no. I was so
But Fight Song, you weren't suffering creating that.
Yes, I was.
Really?
Yes, you think Fight Song was born from a chill experience?
But sometimes you hear people saying they created a love song out of just
I
peace
love,
and beauty. And
who are they? I'm so annoyed with them.
the Beatles seem to create stuff all the time.
They sure did, didn't they? They seem to be having a great time.
Yeah, right?
I know. Other people do. I don't know what it is with me and God and the muse and what happens. But apparently for me to really reach the depths of things that reach other people, I have to, for some reason, it's a transmutation. It's alchemy for me. It isn't for everybody, but it is for me. I alchemize my deep pain and I turn it into art. And that's what my vibe is. And now I've just come to accept it. Cool. We're going to work again and we're going to create again. That means I'm probably going to be crying. But it's not all that. I have songs on the record that are also joyful and silly and fun. I'm exaggerating. Better Place was written with me delicately looking out at a beautiful ray of sun on the trees. So they're not all like that. It's just that usually
moment created a song though.
Usually the ones that move people the most for some reason for me are those. I'm not the artist that people turn to, I don't think, for the party song. I think they
Right.
come to me to feel.
Interesting. Wow. Okay. So since that happened, you feel like you've had a different relationship to God?
Yeah. Yeah.
And what is that relationship now, 2 years later?
It's really intimate and great.
Really?
I love him.
So you feel like you have a direct channel to God.
Oh my
You don't have to go to
gosh.
someone else
No,
anymore.
I would never think to go to someone else. That idea seems so wild to me now. Why would anyone else have my answers? That doesn't make any sense to me now. I write every day these dear love letters that Elizabeth Gilbert is doing. Have you
she's
seen
asked
this?
Me, she's asked me to write one.
Lewis!
I've been
Why aren't you doing it?
going
I'm so annoyed with you for turning it down.
I didn't turn it down. I said,
Okay.
yes, I'll do it.
Immediately you have to do it.
I saw yours. I saw the newsletter that she sent out with yours. It's
Yeah.
really powerful. And
Well, I didn't write it.
Right, exactly.
God wrote it,
you
but yeah.
shared it. You put it
Yeah.
out there.
So
No,
she writes these letters.
I have it in my inbox for me to do. I've just been traveling. I was
Oh my
in
God,
the
I'm so annoyed
Olympics.
with you. I've zoned it. Please do it. I want to hear what
Yeah, I will,
love
I will.
says to you. And she calls it love. Maybe
Yes.
that's a more palatable
Yeah.
word for everyone listening. Interchangeable for me. She calls it universal love. God, it triggers people, that word. But what I'm saying when I say that is the one, the creator, the divine, that force of love in the world. And so we write every week, dear love, what would you have me know today?
Wow.
And when you think that you're going to be like, you think it's not going to be answered, right? You think you're not going to hear anything. Oh my God. Literally, oh my God. Answers pour out of you. And these are just women, men, normal women and men living their life. These aren't spiritual necessarily, like holy people. These are just people just like us who are hungry for answers, who put the request out there, and they get met with a flood of love and answers and support. And now there's a community on her Substack of over 100,000 people
Crazy.
that are sharing these letters every day with each other. And it is unbelievably beautiful. I think it's the most beautiful place on the internet. So
That's
all I'm
cool.
saying is, like, it would be wild to me to go to anyone else for answers. When I have a direct line, I can literally write. And now I can just hear. I'll just ask and like I can hear.
So for 40 years, you didn't have that.
No.
It's almost like saying,
No.
I need to go to my sibling to ask what my father thinks about me.
Right.
Or give me advice, but I can't go directly to my
to the
dad.
person, right.
I'm going to ask my sibling
Yeah.
to ask them
You go.
and then bring it back to me.
And that's going to be filtered through their own human experience. So like that's the problem I think with intuitives and psychics.
Mhm.
They're still human.
Yeah.
It might be something true, but that it's going to be filtered through their own human body and feelings and thoughts.
What did you need to be able to unlock that within yourself to be able to connect to God directly?
I mean, I think like all heroes' journeys, I needed to be on my knees, suffering at my limit, crying mercy, I surrender, anything, come and help me. Like that was what I needed. I'm stubborn though.
But
Someone else might have easier time getting there.
But what was the unlock? Like, was it finally like, I'm going to trust and listen directly. I'm going to let go of something. I'm going to stop living in fear. Like, what unlocked it so you could have a direct channel to
Practice.
God?
Practice.
Okay.
You know, it wasn't all at once.
But were you afraid of it for a while?
Of what? Of
Connecting
God?
directly?
I just was afraid that no one would be answering me. I was afraid no one would be there, that it would be true, that I would be alone. But it's not true.
So in that moment, you felt like, I don't care if I'm alone. I'm just going to listen anyways.
Like when I was crying mercy, you mean?
Yes.
I wasn't thinking at all.
Uh-huh.
I was in so much pain.
You just said, I'll do whatever.
I didn't have any plan. My plan was just to throw my forehead against the floor.
You weren't in your head anymore.
No.
No.
I couldn't be. I was in too much pain.
You were in your heart.
Yes. I was broken. My heart was broken. I was shattered. I was obliterated. Rachel was gone. It was just all pain that was there. It was all fear and it was all grief and it was all pain. And I couldn't think anything. I just was in so much pain. I was in so much pain.
Wow.
And
Was it physical pain? Was it spiritual pain? Was it emotional pain? What was the main pain you were feeling?
it was like, it's terror. It's just terror.
Was it in your head? Was it in your body? Was it in your heart? Was it?
I don't know. It was everywhere.
It's everywhere.
It was
Wow.
everywhere. And I now can like go through in a meditation and kind of ask and check in with my body and where are you? But I mean, in the moment I didn't have those tools. I just, I think that I felt so scared and so alone and so broken and like, yeah, it was just a full body feeling. Have you ever been there that low?
I've been in more like full rage and anger.
Yeah.
It's probably because the emotion that I knew how to express the best.
Right.
Yeah.
They're all the same.
Yeah, exactly.
They're all like
Afraid.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm curious if you could, with the wisdom you have now and the experience you have now, if you were able to go back 5 years ago and yourself 5 years ago asked you now, Rachel from the future, how do I heal myself? What advice or what would you say to your younger self on how to heal with the wisdom you have now? Knowing all the pain you experienced, all the fear, anxiety, stress, tightness in your body, worry, what would you be able to say to her to be actually listen to you and actually take the actions to heal?
I just wrote myself a letter that's going to be on the copy of my vinyl. This is the first time I'm going to have actual records, physical LPs.
That's cool.
And I just wrote myself a letter that's going to be on the inside, and it's not going to be anywhere else. And it was Dear Me 5 years ago.
Wow.
And so I know exactly what I would say. And it was, this pain is going to be worse than anything you've ever experienced. And it goes on, but I will not wish you out of it because it is the way.
Wow.
It is the path to get where you want. And so I will be brave and I will love you and I will tell you you're going to be okay. You're going to end up in a beautiful place, but I will not wish it away. I know that you're strong enough to handle this. And all of it is going to lead you exactly where you want. So I would not give myself tools to escape it or get it out of it faster. Everything had to be exactly as it was for me to feel how I feel today.
Do we all have to go through pain and suffering in order to feel peace? Or is there a way we can premeditatively, not hack it, but say, my life's not great. I'm at a 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
But every year I keep going at this rate, it kind of goes down a little bit. I lose a little bit of my soul, my heart. I'm just surviving. And when you can catch it and say, I know some things are off and I'm just not really connected to my body or my emotions, like my relationship's a little bit off. Is there a way you can not hack it, but you can say, I'm going to do the work now.
Okay. I do have an answer.
To get to where I want to be, as opposed to, well, let me just wait 5 years until I go into a crash and have pain and suffer. Then I wake up.
But you're making it sound,
can't we?
That's not what I meant, Louis.
But you mean, it's not about hacking. Like, can't we?
Yeah.
Is there a way we can support ourselves to improve, as opposed to, well, I'll just wait till it gets to the horrible.
No. Okay. So I don't mean that I don't mean like I want to leave you there, young Rachel, to just go through this alone. Like I said a lot other things to her of like, I'm going to love you and I'm going to be there loving you. And the sooner that you can learn to love yourself and accept what is, the sooner things are going to start to change. So my answer is acceptance. What I would say to anyone is the sooner that you can be with what is, accept what is, the sooner that you are about to start to actually change something. You need to radically accept what is before you can change anything.
And you hadn't accepted what was.
No. I was fighting and mad and angry at God and scared and raging against it. So my work over and over and over was to say, yes. Yes, I don't like this, but yes, I'm here. Yes, I don't want to be depressed. Yes, I am depressed. So
if you would have done that 5 years ago, you maybe wouldn't have hit rock bottom or all this pain.
Yeah, but the pain brought my art. The pain brought these.
You could have brought it in other ways too. You could have brought
I don't know. I kind of love the journey. I don't know. I kind of love it.
I get it, but that's a high, low,
I know,
low.
but that's my vibe. That's who I am. I'm a high, low kind of girl. I've always been. It's kind of another thing I have to accept about myself. Yeah. I'm not like everyone. Some people are like me. Some people aren't. My husband's way more in the middle he's nowhere like this. And one of my
cons.
Yeah, but this is how I am. I'm a songwriter. This is
You're
me.
An artist. Yeah,
I'm an artist. I go wildly high and wildly low. I'm not going to change. The sooner that I learn to stop being so frustrated, sometimes I'll look at God and be like, are you joking? Why did you make me like this? Were you drunk? I'm so sensitive. How did you think I'd be okay? But I'm also so strong. I'm such a warrior and I'm so fierce. And so now I'm like, yeah, you did a good job. But I used to be so just what were you thinking? This is a dumb way to make a human being. This is absurd. But now I'm like, this is Rachel. Rachel goes high and Rachel goes low. And so that's all that I know. That's the only advice I can give is I need to experience them for my art. Really? Not every artist does. It's what I do. But I don't suffer like I used to now that I have this connection with God. That is
good.
my answer.
That's
I
good.
don't suffer. I will go low and I will go high, but I don't suffer anymore.
You don't stay low for a long time.
I don't stay low. I don't suffer.
That's
you know what
good.
I'm saying? Like I feel the pain, but I heard Tony Robbins say this one time. He's said, like, I had this moment where I realized I would never suffer again. And I feel the same way.
Yeah.
I'm never going to suffer again.
Gives himself like 20 minutes or whatever and feels it. And he's
I
more
feel
like
it.
driven. Yeah.
I feel it. Like I am now a ninja about feeling my feelings because I know I can't trap them. So I will go upstairs, I'll punch pillows, I'll write out in my journal 20 minutes nonstop, like everything that I need to say, the worst thing I could say, the worst thing I could feel, the thing I would always suppress, like, I hate my kid, blah, the things that you would never say out loud.
Yeah, you let it out.
I get them out.
Yeah.
I cry. I hold myself.
In a healthy container.
In a healthy container. Yeah. Good way to say it. I forgot to think.
Don't do it in front of the people that you're pissed with.
You've got to be responsible. Like I'll go like scream, I hate you. I want to shoot a bazooka into the world. And,
right.
and none
Whatever
of it stays true. It's just true for that moment, but it doesn't stay true. And Nicole Sachs's work taught me that. My therapist taught me that. I learned it from my own experience and it has been the most unbelievable thing to learn.
That's cool.
That it doesn't stay true. It just needs to get out.
So you can let it out. So
let it out.
Letting
with a
out your
container,
emotions,
with a boundary.
accepting yourself.
Yeah, accept yourself and then investigate. I mean, it's Tara Brach's RAIN practice. You're familiar with her work?
I think so. Yeah, I've seen her stuff online.
The R is recognize, the A is allow,
the
I is investigate, and the N is nurture. And I think it is the most brilliant acronym I've ever, that is life-changing for me. RAIN. RAIN. And so you recognize, okay, I'm angry right now. Because how often do we walk around all day being like, not really actually knowing how we feel about a thing? We're just some dull level of not okayness. Once that dull feeling of like dis-ease is there, that's not actually me.
What is it?
That's not actually capital S self. That isn't actually God in me.
It's just something you're experiencing.
That's something I'm experiencing. It's a wave. And so now I'm like, okay, so let's see what's here, Rachie. You're not feeling like yourself. And I recognize it. What are you feeling? I put a hand on my heart. I ask myself, I go to the bathroom if I only have 2 minutes and quietly ask, what's here? Okay, fear is here. Why are you afraid? And I feel it. And then the A is allow. And I allow it to move through me. And it moves through me like a wave. I cry a lot. I'm a crier. But some people like to rage. Sometimes I scream. I do what I need to do to get it out of my body. And then investigate. I get quiet. I listen within and I say, where are you? Like you asked me in the beginning, where was it? It's often in my stomach or my back or in my head. And then I ask that part of me, what do you need? What do you need to hear? What's going on? And it'll often just tell me, just love me. Just be with me.
Yeah.
Just let me be here.
That's cool.
And then N is nurture. And then you give yourself the love and that message of support that you're looking for from a place of support and resource. So like maybe in the past, there was someone that just loved you so truly, like a grandmother or a spiritual teacher or Jesus or Buddha, whoever you think of, and you embody that and you give yourself the message that you need. And honestly, if you talk about a hack, 20 minutes of that and I am back.
Feel good. Yeah.
I'm clear. I have moved through it and I didn't push anything down.
Wow.
Yeah.
It sounds like internal family systems a lot in there too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have it all mixed up in here.
It's good.
There's so many brilliant people doing such amazing work right now, including you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. So that's the advice you'd give yourself 5 years ago.
Yeah. The sooner you can be with what is, Rachie, and love yourself just as you are in this moment, the sooner things will start to change.
What is the advice?
And I would say turn on your tape recorder when you start recording. Don't think that those things that you're singing aren't worth anything just because you're depressed.
That's good.
Yeah.
What is the advice your future self would give you now, 5 years in the future, with all the wisdom and experience that you think you're going to have?
Oh, she would love me. She would be so proud of me. She's going to say to me, Rachie, you're doing it. This is it. I ask her. I talk to her. And she always says, this is it. You're doing it. Because I ask, how do I get there? And she says, you're doing it. This is it. This is it. And every time something comes up that's hard, that makes me want to break or stop or give up, she tells me, this is not an obstacle in the way. This is the way. This is the way. And I love you.
Mm.
And you're doing such a good
Wow,
job.
that's
And
good.
keep going.
That's cool.
Just keep going.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm excited for you.
I'm really
I'm excited for where you're at because,
too.
I mean, a year ago, you were not in a good
Very
place.
different.
I remember, again, walking and just the pain you were having in your body and just
It was awful.
being
I was having spasms, right?
a lot
Yeah.
in
It
your
was
back,
really
and your
bad.
hip.
Yep. I have no more pain. I can do whatever
Really?
oh my God.
That's incredible.
I dance every week.
That's good.
I do whatever I want.
That's good.
I do somersaults with my girls and cartwheels, and I play
amazing.
soccer and tennis and ski.
You were
I'll
in
do
a lot of pain before. You were like,
I couldn't
do you know a
move.
masseuse? Do you know anyone?
I couldn't move. I
Yeah.
couldn't get up off my floor for a couple weeks.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I was in a lot of pain.
I'm glad you're not in pain anymore.
Me too.
I'm glad you're feeling peace.
Me too.
And the album is out. Once we launch this, the album will be out.
Yeah.
What is your wish for it?
Well, my wish for it is that it may be used by God to move into all the corners of the world, wherever people need it, that it may reach whoever needs it, that it may bring healing and love and peace and just be another vehicle out of the dark. You know, it was my way out. So it's now my offering to the world, like, may it be a vehicle for other people who are suffering and, you know, want to feel their feelings. May it reach people who feel unseen.
Yeah.
May it let people know they're not alone.
Mm.
May it be a comfort. May it be the thing that you listen to over and over to like feel God. Yeah. And may it just find its home wherever it's supposed to go.
That's beautiful. Yeah. I mean, the song Girls, if you're a mom, go listen to that right now. I think it's going to bring you a lot of joy. Or if you have a sister or
But
something
get
like that.
tissues because you're going to cry.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Go listen to that. Again, if you're feeling any type of pain or uncertainty in your life, go listen to Mercy right away.
Yeah.
And if you have bad thoughts, go listen to Bad
Anxiety, panic attacks. Yeah.
Go listen to Bad Thoughts. But listen to the whole thing. It's a beautiful piece of art. So I'm really excited for you. I'm really happy that you were able to create something magical and beautiful from a place of extreme pain and suffering.
Thank you.
And I hope, even though this is your life, I hope you don't have to suffer that much.
No. I won't ever again. Not like that.
You might have pain.
I will.
But hopefully you don't have to hold on to it.
It's life. I'm going to have pain.
Yeah, of course.
But I'm never going to feel like I felt before.
Yeah, exactly. That's good. Where should we go to listen to it or the best place?
Please stream it on your preferred platform. Spotify, Amazon, Apple Music,
It's
YouTube.
called I Am Rachel Platten.
And go to my website, rachelplatten.com. You can order a vinyl there, a signed copy.
Really? Signed?
And see that letter I wrote myself and to all of us. And you can join my fan community there. There's a lot of us who are out there seeking comfort and not like feeling like we're not alone and wanting to know that there's others like us who are just seeking, right? And searching for love. And I've built this community of incredible people who are loving on each other and supporting each other. So yeah, come find us.
That's great. Are you doing a tour at some point? Or
I am. I'll be touring in 2025.
Wow. So they can sign up for your newsletter and get that
on
information.
rachelplatten.com, you can sign up for my newsletter and you will be the first to know and get VIP sales first.
Wow.
First access to tickets.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
When's the last time you went on tour?
2019.
Really?
Violet was 3 months old. Yeah.
So it'll be 6 years since you've been on tour.
You know what? Jewel told me to say one thing. I don't mean to be so name droppy, but I want to say something about my tour because she said, Rachel, you have to share this.
Say it.
Okay, because I was talking to my Lean In Circle, which is Cheryl and Ariana and Jewel. And Yeah, and we're it's really cool. And I told them, I'm going back on tour. I might not be on a bus this time because I'm not playing those humongous places that I was playing, but I'm proud. And I'm excited. And Jewel said, please talk about that as you do press for the album so that other women and moms know that it is okay to make a choice for your family. It is okay. It is a choice that I made to take time off, to heal, to make my family, to be with my babies. And there is a sacrifice that came with it. I'm best friends with Andy Grammer, and he and I were touring to the same audience, right? But he's a dad. He toured the entire last 6 years.
Yeah, and he kept building his audience.
And it's something that sometimes we joke about. And like, I look at it and I'm like, what's wrong with me? Why aren't I there? I am not there because I made a choice. And that choice was beautiful for me at the time, but there was a sacrifice. And I can get back there. It's just going to take work.
Yeah.
So I just want other moms to know.
And you don't have to get back there.
I probably will.
Right. But I mean, you don't have to tour every year to be successful.
No, but I probably will, knowing me, because I'm a hard worker and I feel energy again and I feel ready again.
When your kids are older.
But it's going to take time. And that's okay. It's okay to have made a choice. And our country, our community, our world right now tells us that it is not okay to make those choices and to not be at the top, but they are essential choices that we have to make. And I accept it and I'm proud of it. And here I am back out there again, maybe not on a tour bus this time, maybe playing to a little bit smaller rooms. But hey, like,
You're doing it.
I'm doing it. And I made my babies and I'm ready again.
Let's go.
Bro, come on. Woo!
How else can we be of service and support you, Rachel?
Thank you for asking. Please share the music with everyone you know, anyone that you think might need some love right now to know that they're not alone. Anyone that you feel like might be suffering, please share them with it. Please share the music with them. And just come find me online. Come join my community. I am so happy to get to know my fans. We have special gatherings every month and but yeah, share it with everyone. It comes from word of mouth. You know, it's like,
Of course.
I'm an indie artist right now. So like every stream and every recommendation and every TikTok and
all
reel
helps.
you make, it all
It all
helps. Yeah, it
helps.
all matters.
Here's what I'm going to do. For anyone watching or listening right now, I'm going to buy 10 signed vinyls and send them out to people.
Lewis.
So what you have to do is leave a comment on the YouTube below of your biggest takeaway from this and share that. And then also tag a story of you watching this on Instagram, tag me and tag Rachel, and I'll select 10 people who share this out in the first week. We'll send it out to 10 people. So, and if you don't get one, then just go to rachelplatten.com and buy yourself.
No, but I'll sign them special for them.
There you
Like
go.
I'll
We'll do a
individualize
special one. And
I'll individualize
yeah,
it.
well, I'll go over to the studio across the street. We'll sign it. I'll sign it too if you want me to.
Yeah. Yep. Rachel and Lewis sign.
Will
Yeah.
be 10 special ones. So
Wow.
we'll make that happen. Rachel, I acknowledge you for the journey you've been on. Again, I've seen behind the scenes of stuff. A lot of people don't get to see that. I acknowledge you for opening up here and sharing more of what you've been going through the last 5 years. I'll never know what it's like to be a mother of two and experience the joy and the pain and the suffering and the sadness and the no sleepless nights and try to be relevant and try to make music. Like I'll never know what that feels like. And I acknowledge you for feeling it all and experiencing it all, for making the sacrifices to live your dream to be a mother and to also come back and create the art and the music that can help you and others as well. So I acknowledge you for all of it, my friend. I love you. I'm grateful for you. And I can't wait to do our walks soon. When you get back from all this 3 months of madness, we'll do more walks together.
Thank you so much.
One final question I've asked you before, but I'm curious what your definition is now with some perspective. What's your definition of greatness?
It's kind of beautiful to answer this almost 10 years later. First of all, that made me cry. Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome.
I think just being able to love yourself right now is my answer. I think being able to truly and deeply and radically love yourself and accept yourself for all of you is greatness. Because we've both seen the achievement. It's not it. It's not it. It's like being of service and loving yourself.
There you go.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, Rachel.
I appreciate you so much. I love
Amazing.
you, Lewis.
Love you too.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Getting to this point in that process of then looking out from some moment of their life and just pausing to remind themselves to invite their child to watch it with them.
Cool.
And to stand in space, whether through the window of their home or at some event that they were at,